is SSL Family Dad, and today we're putting new brakes on a Chevy truck. Man, I've been putting this job off for quite some time now, and it's an easy job, so there's no excuse to get this done. So today I'm going to be going through changing the brakes, brake pads and rotor in this case. This process is almost identical for any Chevy or GM branded vehicle, especially all your Chevy truck models from 1999 and newer are going to be very similar to this. I've been changing brakes for probably 20 years almost, and S10s, GMCs, all your Traverses, all the disc brakes are almost identical. The process is almost the same. Today we're going to be using my 2004 Chevy Avalanche to show you the process. This is the rear brake, so it's a little bit different than the front, and just in terms of the rotor itself is a little bit bigger because it has the emergency brake system on the inside. I've got the vehicle all jacked up and ready to go. I've got the tire removed, so let's go ahead and dig in here, see what we need to get this job done, and then get into it. All right, so before we get started, a couple things that you will want to have for this job. We will be obviously need a jack of some sort to get the vehicle up off the ground. I also use jack stands, and make sure you block your tires before you start jacking things up. This will be the C-clamp and just a scrap piece of wood. It has to be a triangle. Just any scrap piece of wood or even a little piece of metal would work. This will be used for the caliper pistons. I'll show you that here in a little bit. It's good to have a little screwdriver. Helps with removing the little rubber boots and stuff like that off of the piston itself. Hammer is good, especially if you get old rusty stuff like I do, tapping things apart. It's good to have WD-40 or a brake cleaner, but I generally just use WD-40 for pretty much everything, and this will kind of clean things up and loosen up bolts that are seized up with rust and stuff like that also. Some sandpaper I used during this job to clean up the caliper pistons and all that stuff in there. You also need a 3/4 inch and 1/2 inch socket to remove everything. Now I'm doing the brake pads and the rotor in this video. You do not have to do the rotor, but this will show you how to do both. I also recommend having some rags. I always save old t-shirts and socks and things like that. This is a dirty job, and so it's good to have that stuff. Some things I don't have here that I would recommend. You want to make sure you have some white grease or Vaseline. You also, a good idea to have some thread locker. Blue or red is fine. There's something I don't have here today, but I will put a link in the description to all the parts and tools that you need to get this job done. So if you're interested in that over on Amazon, check it out. Very easy to order from there and get everything you need to get your brakes done. So I like to get some WD-40 squirted on this stuff first, just loosens it up. Usually before while I get my tools together, whatever, I'll just squirt it on there. That'll penetrate in and help loosen these up. First thing we're gonna do is take off these 2 1/2 inch bolts, one on the top, one on the bottom, and that'll get our caliper loose here. Everything on here is pretty well rusted together, so we're gonna tap this apart. So once this comes loose, we can set this whole kind of assembly aside here, make sure it doesn't fall and hang by the brake line or anything. So in my case, I let these go just a little bit too long. So I actually replaced all 3 of the other brakes another time, and I got caught up, had to put everything back together and rush out. And so I left this one for way longer than it should have been. So this is what's left of the brake pad. Don't do it this way unless you plan on replacing the rotor, because you're going to wreck it. This bracket comes off with 2 3/4 inch bolts on the back side here. There's one right here and one up here. So the brackets generally don't have to be replaced unless they're really damaged. In this case, this one's pretty rusted up. I probably could have got a new one on there, and so I'm not going to worry about it right now, but I will put a link in the description to this part also. If you got an old truck like this, you might as well just grab a new one too and put it on. I probably should have thought of that. Rotor here will just come all the way off. So now we're in here looking. This is the emergency brake system, and it's a good idea to throw a little bit of oil in here on the gears while you're in here. All right, we got those back in there, pretty beat up. So I really would recommend that you pick up a new bracket if yours is rusted, anything like this one. It's just a good idea to get a new one, but I don't have a new one today, so we're gonna move on. All right, so for brake pads, we have all AC Delco parts here. I've got brand new brake pads. It comes with the brackets and little instructions and everything that you need. It also comes with some little grease packet, but I used that all up on the other side, and so I do have some of this white grease, a little bit of that left that I'll use, as well as some Vaseline, I think, whatever I have laying around here to lubricate the moving parts on the actual caliper pistons and stuff. So, but this is all that you need. All this stuff was ordered on Amazon, and I'm telling you right now, it's the easiest way to go. Just order this stuff on Amazon. It's very easy to find what you need, and I've had very, very good luck with all the parts that I've ordered there. So I will put a link in the description to all the parts that I used, including the grease and the brake pads and the rotor itself. So in this case, since we have an older vehicle, I also have a new rotor assembly. I order it again, everything right from Amazon. Just whenever I know this needs to be done, I just jump on my phone usually and search for the stuff and just order it whenever I think of it, and it's delivered in 2 days and ready to go when I need it. So all new AC Delco stuff, so we'll go ahead and get both these put on. You don't need to do this unless yours is destroyed like mine is. This is a really old truck. I don't know when or if the brakes have ever been done on it, and the rotor is very grooved because I let this go way too long, and so this needs to be replaced as well. Brackets to put in here, they should just snap into place. In this case, there's no left and right. They should be identical. They both have squeakers on them, it looks like, when you're let you know when your brakes are low. There's a bunch of little kind of clips here that hang on to everything and keep it in place. So just make sure everything's fitted in here. So you can put a little grease in there. That's where our brake pads are gonna slide here. Now for the other side. So the other lubrication points are right on the face of these pads, and I'm using white grease again here, but I'm just about out. So what I'm going to do, and something that you can substitute in place of this is just so that the caliper pistons can kind of rub freely in here. They don't get stuck to the pad. You can also just use petroleum jelly or Vaseline and put some of that on there as well. So So we'll use that on the opposite side here. These are old anti-vibration bracket or whatever it's called. I've got a new one of those we can put in here. It just snaps in the top there. So our pistons here from our caliper, they're extended all the way because our brake pads were super thin, obviously. And so we need to, now we've got these new fat brake pads on there, so we need to get these pistons pushed back out of the way. I'm just gonna use a scrap piece of wood that I have laying around and a C-clamp. And we'll just get those pistons pushed back in. Just kind of slowly squeeze your clamp, and it'll get them both depressed all the way in, as far as they'll go. I never have bled the brakes on these after I do a brake job, just no need for it. Okay, so see all that rust on top of these surface of those pistons? Those things were rusted right to the brake pad. So I'm gonna use our Vaseline here. Could also put like used motor oil or something like that if you didn't have any of this laying around, but you want something kind of thick that'll stay around, it's not going to wash away. The Vaseline and that white grease works pretty good. So get the back sides of these. Alright, let's get this put back on, same way it came off. That pretty much wraps it up for the brake job on the Avalanche here. As I said in the beginning, this should work for any Chevy truck from just about 2099 period on up to the new ones. They're very similar. So it didn't take me that long to do. I did struggle with those pins though, man, where those things rusted in there on that caliper bracket. If you don't do that, if you don't clean those pins up and take them out, if you just slap this back together, you're gonna burn it. It's gonna be a smoking hot mess, because that inside pad's gonna get stuck, or the outside pad will get stuck on just flush against that rotor, and it's just gonna heat up and probably catch fire something. So you want to make sure that those get lubricated properly and they can slide in and out. Pretty straightforward job. Anybody can do this stuff. This is not super difficult. There's other good videos on brake jobs out there as well. Watch a couple of them, check it out, and go from there. Usually that's the way I go. But hopefully the process here helps you out, gets you going. If you have questions, throw it down below. I try to answer everybody's questions, even if it's 2-3 years down the road. You can throw that comment down below, and I do receive those, and I should be able to respond to your questions in a timely manner. Love to have you guys follow along. If you have not subscribed already, I have all kinds of videos that come out on DIY stuff. We try to do everything ourselves here on the SSL family farm. Anything that I can possibly do myself. If I have the tools or I can get a hold of the tools to do it, I try to do it myself. So love to have you guys follow along for any other future videos. Hit that subscribe button down below. Thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. I always appreciate it. It makes a big difference for me. Tap that thumbs up button right down below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.
This is SSL. Alright, this is SSO Family Dad, and today we're putting new brakes on a Chevy truck.